Good morning, Skidaway. Today I am taking joy in the Lord, in that He knows us, in that He understands the way we grow, the way we think, the way we learn how to walk. We all learn to walk differently. Some of us never actually take steps, it's straight into running. Some have to hold on and they're guided step by step. Some like to be independent. But even in all of this, there's lots of attempts, lots of falling, lots of getting up and having to try again. We have seen Abram begin to try to walk out his life in following God, of following that commandment to go forth into the earth and to be that light, to be that presence that points people back to God's holiness by the way he lives his life. So we have, in the last chapter 13, seen the split between Abram and Lot going towards Sodom and Gomorrah, the cities, and Abram being faithful to the commandment God has given him to go out and to go from the west to north and east and to wander this land, knowing that God has promised it to him and his descendants. Well, in chapter 14, there's an uprising of kings, and they ally together. They begin sacking and taking possession from all of these different city-states, all of these different cities who have their own kings. And so they go from city to city, either burning and pillaging or being given tribute. And we see that happen in Sodom. And Lot winds up being wrapped up in it all and being given to these kings. And that does not stand with Abram. Abram takes his soldiers and he goes against this massive army with some 312 men and is successful in his raid and is able to redeem, to take back Lot. One of the things that really stuck out to me this week as I studied and worked through these scriptures was that when offered these possessions, the king of Sodom was going to take all the people, all the possessions could be given over to Abram as he was successful in this battle. And Abram's reply is, God has told me not to take anything from you, so that when he makes me great, that you can't say that you were the one to make me great. All glory goes to God. That's a huge thing. It's not only huge because it was a significant amount of wealth, it was huge because Abram was living in such uncertainty that we like to, as human beings, as Americans, to shore up our savings account so that we have some windfall. And this was a chunk of change to go into that account. But Abram told him no. That's a step of faith. That is a walk that he probably wouldn't have done just a few chapters earlier. I'm not sure if it was months or years that there has been this change from Egypt, leaving Egypt, because if you remember, he was so afraid of being killed that he lied and allowed his wife to be taken into Pharaoh's household. He is learning how to take steps of faith with God, and it's a preparation because we know down the line when Abram becomes Abraham and is asked to give up his only descendant when he's been promised thousands and millions of descendants. It's a huge leap of faith even then, but to think if you had never made any kind of faith step in God, that's unreal. And God doesn't call us to that. He allows us to be infantile in our faith. So whether this is your first step today or your millionth, I pray God's grace and blessings upon you. Have a good day, Skidaway.